To my dear community and beloved friends, first, let me just say that I really wish I could be there with all of you tonight at the Vigil. I have returned to Washington, where we also have important business. And our first order of business is going to be to pass what I hope will be an overwhelmingly bipartisan bill for supplemental appropriations for Israel. Like all of you, I have watched this tragedy unfold with a variety of emotions. First, disbelief. It was impossible to believe that the Israel where my family and I have traveled as recently as February of this year, and where I have felt so safe, could have been attacked in such a horrific way. Disbelief gave way to horror and fear, which continue with me to this very moment. And then anger, extreme anger. How dare these terrorists target civilians, young, old, middle-aged, elderly, people who could barely walk? It didn't matter. I am the mother of two young adults. They have traveled to Israel, both as part of a JCC family mission and as part of birthright programs. My daughter sent me a video this weekend that was of her Israeli friends who she met when she was on the birthright program in 2018. And they were singing and laughing and dancing. And my heart just broke, wondering whether they are still alive and safe. And to this moment, she has only been able to reach one of them, who she has confirmed is safe, but he's in the IDF. And, we know what that means. So the others we haven't yet heard from. And the news of the vicious attack on the young people who were attending a music festival in the desert was particularly devastating to me, because like any parent who is watching this, I could only imagine my own children being there. It's something that they would do. And I remember stories from both of my kids about their experiences sleeping in the desert during their birthright trips. Their chief complaint was that they got cold in the middle of the night. I wish that had been the worst problem that these poor young people endured. I have been to Kibbutz Kfar Aza, just 2 miles from the border of Gaza, where I met women, children, families. Theirs was one of the villages that was massacred on Saturday. And reports are that some of the people I met and spent time with and broke bread with have been killed or taken hostage. And that's just very, very hard to comprehend. My family has friends who have made Aliyah. One friend from our community has a daughter living in Israel who just got married there last week. Her family returned to the United States on Friday. And the bride and her husband, both IDF soldiers, cut their honeymoon short and have returned to Israel to fight. Families in our community have children in Israel who are still there. They're trying desperately to return home. This has touched every Israeli and every Jewish family in America. I am in the same situation as so many of you, worried, desperate, devastated, crying at times, with an angry undercurrent marking all of my emotions. After experiencing the initial stages of disbelief, horror, fear, and anger, the next thing that set in was my instinct as a lawmaker to do something. Like most US lawmakers of both political parties, I have condemned this terrorism, pledged my strongest support for our ally Israel, and committed to working to fortify Israel's security and future. I want you to know that I am going to do everything possible to make sure that this is accomplished as swiftly as possible. I also want you to be aware that the House Foreign Affairs Committee, of which I am a member, has been in constant contact with Israeli lawmakers, defense forces, security forces, diplomatic personnel, and with our own Pentagon. In addition, the members of the committee, along with all of our Jewish members, have been in constant communication with one another. We are sharing information and problems that our constituents have been facing. We are working together as creatively as possible to make sure that we are doing everything we can for Americans in Israel, or the family members of those who live in Israel. Please make sure you contact my office in the event you need any assistance. We are there for you. And this constant contact among lawmakers started almost the minute the news broke on Saturday morning, and has been continuous from then until now, and will continue to remain continuous. I tell you this because I want all of you to know that Israel is on our minds and in our hearts at all times, and that none of us will rest until we know that we have done everything that we possibly can. And I want to say this: unwavering bipartisan support is absolutely essential, not just for us as Americans, and of course it would be good for us too, but more importantly for Israel. We must be unified in our support. And I will say this: to the extent that there are any outliers in Congress who do not vote for or express support for Israel, please consider them to be just that, outliers. Do not brand all of us with their misguided actions. And I will do everything I possibly can to bring them around. By all accounts, we are in for a long haul. My immediate focus will be to secure the safety of all Americans in Israel, and then to focus on the United States support of Israel and its commitment to its security. We will not lose sight of the need for our unwavering support of Israel. I promise you that. May we all mourn the hundreds of innocent lives lost, and may their memories be a blessing.